Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be animating this animation and the boxing bag. So let's go. So welcome back, guys. Today we're just going to keep on going. So what we start with is just import a reference, which you can do there or just drop it directly into the scene. And what we're going to do, we're just going to approximately take the frames that we want from the video. The video is going to be linked in the description, of course. I recommend just take fixed rotation just to make sure that you get the right rotation, of course. Then we're just going to place it to somewhere you feel comfortable with viewing the whole animation all the time. Moving forward, we are just gonna first of all split the scene a bit up, clean it, take the reference video as well and just put it on its own layer just so we don't mess it up or move it or animate it or something like that, right? So just hit the plus sign there and call it whatever you want, then at least we have it separated. So over to actually animating, what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a keyframe that we want to start with. So I don't want to start directly in a punch. I'm just going to start with like a more neutral pose like this one. And then we're just going to start trying to mimic all his body language, because this reference doesn't allow us to see the foot placement or the full scene or from the back or something. So this is a bit of a guessing game, but at the same time you're going to see where it's lacking. And we're going to be doing a basic block out, and then we're going to move forward to tweaking it using some AutoPhysics and so on. And I like to mix between, and of course take off the fixed rotation moving forward, but I like to tweak between the box controllers and the auto pausing mode. But this auto pausing mode is like taking the edge off actually doing every small thing ourselves. So yeah, first of all, just getting the basics, trying to see the height of the hip and moving on to the way he twists and all that. So yeah, basic blockouts. And I'm just going to show this one, and then we're going to skip a bit forward to when you don't need to take every frame, because like it's going to be repetitive and it's about how you adapt to it. Yeah. So it's just about like trying to see where you feel is correct as well. And I would recommend like getting the fingers up and going with a fist and stuff like that. You get a feeling of what you're actually looking for. But it's gonna be a bit demanding, and I recommend like if you feel unconfident, like I've done a lot of fighting animations, and when I'm doing them I've been looking through references and videos and battles and stuff like that, and then you can kind of like find the poses. Boxers like to have their fist really close to their head, basically, especially when like in a block mode, of course, but also like when they are using their left, they would have almost leaning their glove on the chin and just move around like that, right? And they will also switch that kind of stuff. But yeah, and you can also read on an attacker like where he has his hand, what kind of like power move he's going for. But of course that's also a mind game, because they can kind of trick you into believing they're going for something, but we are looking for like the language of the body, and we don't want to trick somebody, but like in a game or in a battle they would do that. So yeah, also animating, you learn a lot of stuff. So auto pausing with fingers, I just love it. Like, of course, a little tweak is needed here. And I like, because we just separated the fingers, we can just have them copy paste over, or just have them interpolate straight instead, like linear, or not at all. And they will always just be like a fist. But I like to like make key poses for the hands. This one gonna be a straight up boxing one, and we're going for boxing in speed. So now we're just gonna have this fist. So make a good fist, make sure you're happy with it, because you're just gonna do this once. And of course you can always see my inputs at the left of the screen, and I hope that really helps. And if anything is unclear, ask all the questions that you can in the comment section, and I will make a small video responding to all the questions. So also a small trick is that if you have like a fist, let's say away from the chin, and then you animate the upper body to move around, then you can also select the bone, or this one, and then you can right select the relative point if you want, and then copy it in local relative and then paste it, then the relative would be there. We don't need that correctly right now, but it's nice to know. So as you can see, it's going a lot into tweaking, but mainly like the tweaking is best to do on the first pose, mostly because like that's gonna give the most, like when he moves, he still gonna have some of the same movement, right? And that we're gonna be adapting to. So like having the first pose is really the key pose for us to start with. Of course, it's gonna be some other more demanding poses. And if you're looking for these type of animations or stuff like that, they will be available on my Patreon. If you just want to use them, like the Deadpool dance or something, and just take that on another character that you have for fun, just feel free to do that. But anyhow, so now it's like conveying with his whole body the punch, and just moving on, going through. And I don't like to do any interpolation, because like what you start with is just the key poses. You don't care about the in-betweens, but those we're going to be tweaking when we have the interpolation. And also AutoPhysics is going to help us with that and stuff like that. So just play around with it. So we're just going to go a bit faster, where you can see the workflow and how it goes without me doing this in real time. So step for step, and just try to tweak it, try to see the difference, see how the power looks, like are you interpolating that into something, the speed, the movement. The foot placement was really tricky on this one, because I really can't see, so I was just going out of like basic foot movement, because I know boxers are really fast on the feet, and they never really lift the leg up, like it's really small steps and like almost sliding their feet back and forth. So to not waste your time, I'm just gonna have this at 4000 speed, and you can slow it down if you just want to see some specific issues that you have. So I will still leave it here, but I will have it updated in the comment section, so you can have chapters into this video and just skip ahead, because I have still some stuff that I want to show you when we get to like the next step beyond just keyframing it. But as you can see here, I can tweak. I use the box selector for some things. I just shift between them, because like using the box selector as well, you get a more static movement, and it's nice like for changing just the side or something like that. You can use the boxes instead and just keep on going, right? So yeah, basically you can see like how I'm trying, and also it's like a bit nice because you see through the motions as I go through them now, that they really trying getting there, but it's still gonna be needing, because like he's still really static, at least if you just follow the hip, and you can see like it's not basically having no movement at all. It shouldn't have too much, because if you look at the reference, he's really stiff, and it's more like about a sway right and left, but still it needs something. And now we really come to the point where we're going to be making the in-betweens. So we're just going to add the physics, and mainly we want to see like the biggest difference to start with. And as you can see, it's not really so much difference out of the box. And we're just going to be trying some additional stuff, moving it to the side, trying to like see what works, what doesn't work, because like I would say that mainly the physics is giving it an idea, and we can try to replicate it instead of like really just adding it. Or we could, in some cases, I would kind of like take it on, but I will save the scene separately and have two scenes where I can take what I liked from my animations, and I can take what I like from AutoPhysics, and I can kind of like choose. You can see that like some of these settings will like make it so like if you see his hands are more like rolling and have like no impact, and that's because like the trajectory of the hands is starting to get like too smooth out, and also like the compensation or the secondary motion can also interact with what we are actually doing. So like if you use Cascadeur right, it's helping you, but if you just press all the buttons, it's gonna be fighting you, right? So yeah, just some small comments to take in mind. We are still at a beginner stadium on this one, but we are going to be moving on to more complex and using and utilizing the tools much better. But as you can see, like now I feel the animation is starting to get really good. I'm feeling like AutoPhysics is fighting me. So just going to tweak the settings a bit and just try to see where we get at. As you can see, the punches isn't worth anything at AutoPhysics right now. When we turn off smooth trajectory, you will see that it changed a bit. And as I said, I will now save the scene, just have like a version 2 as a backup is like the main LED, but also if I want to pick up something that I felt was good in that one, then I'm gonna bring it back and mix it. So now I'm just opening, so I have both of them, and now we have like 001B and 001. Naming convention could be different, it doesn't really matter, and you do what you want. And then I'm just going on trying to tweak every animation or keyframe as well, because I've seen some issues in the AutoPhysics which I really want to clean up, and I want to have more like, yeah, as I said, like with the hip movement and stuff like that. So I started animating something from the back and just going in and tweaking, but like now it's really up to my mind how I see it. And then we're going to try again with AutoPhysics and see like if we can get more movement and compensation movement, because we added some movement, it's gonna counter. And mainly like I want to just have some movement that makes sense, and then I want to let the AutoPhysics actually do the job of making it correct, if you know what I mean. So yeah, sorry for like over explaining it probably, but like I'm just trying to get that. And now you can see that the hip movement is getting much better on the AutoPhysics, because I actually tweaked it a bit, like rotating it so the upper body moves and stuff like that. And mainly I think that's the compensation movements that's really going on. And we have the smooth trajectory, but we're just gonna take it a bit down just so it doesn't mess the punches totally, and I think that it's might be worth it, so we're gonna tweak it later to just have the more kapoof or whatever you want to call it. So it's just gonna be like a, yeah, step for step kind of doing thing. But like animating, if you've done animating in Maya or Blender or something like that, you know it's gonna be a lot back and forth, and these are just tools that are gonna help you to not waste too much time on stuff that really does matter, or they does matter, but like that's not really the skill that you have. It's like animating, it's not tweaking the elbow, tweaking the shoulder when you don't need to. Like, you know, this is principles, right? And if you want to start from scratch, you can actually have fun animating. And as you see now, I just added the physics tool, and now I'm gonna unbake it again. This is a nice workflow, because like if you don't bake it and then unbake it, it's just gonna alter the frames that you have, and it probably made some new frames as well, which you're gonna miss then, because like it's just gonna be interpolation. And yeah, and now we can also see that it alter our interpolation as well, which gives us more control over what we actually are trying to achieve. So now we're just gonna keep moving on, and now it's just looking through all of the frames and kind of find out what's wrong. We got additional action, but we also lost some of our data. So I can see that it's leaning a bit more forward, so I'm trying to get that done, and then just moving forward, doing the same, just trying to get some more movement in, because like we want to have some more life to it. And even though I'm doing a lot of work now in auto pause mode, I'm gonna say that when we're going over to making it a bit more advanced, we're gonna move more and more into box and point controller. But that's gonna be to learn you some trick, and then you're gonna be mixing them back and forth. So it's gonna be putting down the time, and I just want to say that this animation, to make it without like making the boxing model and stuff like that, but with animating it, which we're gonna do later in this video, it still took me just about 1.5 hours. And I think that's pretty decent if you know the standard for animating something like this in Maya or Blender. And of course, this is also like trying to showcase what I'm doing. So it's just not like sitting down and hyper focus animating as well. And now I'm just gonna make a simple animation on this one. So just make it move. Just give it some impact. And so we just take this one, and to like overdo it a bit, I kind of want to bend like the next one as well, just kind of like give it some form of indent, because I think that would be looking good. But I'm also like, a boxing bag wouldn't really do that unless you're insanely strong or it's really old. But we already made some wear and tear on it, which is gonna be selling that motion as well, like it's really getting a bit old. So yeah, just starting with a simple movement and then moving on. It's not too much to do with this one, it's just really nice that it works. And what's really funny is that in Unreal we could, if it's somebody that really wants to see that, we could make a physics object out of this, and it would animate as you punch it in-game, real-time as well, which is really fun. Because then you could actually have like a training and a lock-on system, and then just actually use this model that we made and animated and textured in-game as a training stuff for an actual fighting game or hack and slash or whatever you want, right? So yeah, we will see. I tried to tilt it, like give it even more strength, but you will later see that it didn't look well because it just looked messy. We could have done that, but I felt like it didn't have any reasoning to it. But at least we tried, and you're gonna be seeing the result, but we're gonna just make the video much faster so you can see that. The beauty of like how we are doing it right now is basically that we can just go through and tweak the in-between now as well. So if we don't like the in-between, we can just have the interpolation going from one point to another point, and then we can just change it up, right? Instead of like making all the frames in betweens. I know that people in Blender and Maya also love curve editing, and we basically have this, but we have it in a visual way as well, which we're going to use to have the trajectory going correctly. So now we're just going to keep on animating it, make some indents, and yeah, it's really basic. Thank you for watching all the way through, really appreciate you, and comment if you want to see something more specific, and I'll keep making videos and do whatever you need. So talk to you later and see you in the next one.